Hello, everybody. Spirit of 420 here because everything I do is so 420. That's right. So, first things first, I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving break. As you can see, I'm nearing the end of No Shave Movember. So that'll be nice when that's done, I got to tell you. And I forgot to put my phone on focus. Anywho, yeah, I hope everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving. I had as good of a Thanksgiving as possible. There was some disappointments, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But always keep moving forward, which is the real premise of tonight's episode. I mean, and that's really the premise of freaking life, at least as I've come to find out. And what I mean by that is you just have to keep moving forward no matter what, right? Because if you don't, you'll either become stagnant or you'll move backwards, and that's not good. So this used to be No Name, but now it's Lodal, Lord of the Limitless. That is obviously named after my late son. This right here, I don't know if y'all can see that. See the little, can you see that there? Here, let me move that banner for a minute. So you see that there? That's him. That's a little bit of his, cremains, I think is the nicest, coolest way to say it. And he's everywhere. I got him on my neck as well. Got him on my keychain. Got him everywhere. That's just the way I'm dealing with it. Because quite frankly, it makes it just a little bit easier to know that his physical being, although his soul is gone, his physical being is kind of running around with me all the time, you know. So I will say this, obviously things, part of continuing to move forward is you have to deal and process the shitty things that are happening in life, right? And I mean, don't get me wrong, I deal with shit pretty well, quite frankly. At least I'd like to think that I do. I mean, I don't know how many people could say that their son passed away on top of losing, their livelihood and a few other things to boot. And then they're still, even getting up, right? But that's exactly what Sky wants. And on top of that, something I continue to talk to my mom about, just because she's one of the ones having a really hard time. I mean, it was her grandson, and she's watching me in pain. And that's half the pain for her, although the loss is a lot too. Don't get me wrong. We are a very close family. So when something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us, And part of keep moving forward is that, Sky wants to, and I know a lot of people may not even get that whole idea, but my other kids, I have to, right? I mean, even though that, excuse me, I got something in my eye that's bugging me. Even though, one of them's 22, he's his twin. He needs me more than ever. And these two little ones need me more than ever. They're not processing this the same way, right? And what I mean by that is I can barely do it, but I was trying to put myself back in my mindset at 8. And here's the thing, both of these kids, both of the younger ones, they're 8 and 11. They're younger than I was when I got sisters. So I didn't even get a sister. I didn't even get a sister until I was 12, right? So I cannot fathom this kind of loss. And when I was growing up, I don't remember anybody in my neighborhood. I was trying to think about the other day. I don't remember anybody in my neighborhood that went through this when I was growing up. Any of the neighborhoods that I lived in, there was a couple. We were really only in. Oh God, there's something in my fucking eye. We really were only in a couple of neighborhoods. As far as my dad is concerned, on the other hand, with my mom, there was more, but they were those part-time neighborhoods, so I didn't know as many kids in those neighborhoods. But I still don't remember anything this catastrophic happening. And if it did, and I was at that age, then the same thing I'm watching them do, obviously, is what I did. Like, it was no big deal, and I don't mean to say that in the sense of they're going to get it later. Right now, it's no big deal because they're 8 and 11 and they don't know really how to process death. And they went to the memorial, they saw his body. They understand death, but this is that video game generation. Death it doesn't carry the same weight that it does. And I'll tell you, it's not just the generation. I think it's a lot to do simply with age. Although the generation does have to do with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying I think it's more age, because going back to that long-running discussion that I continue to talk about, how we're different every 10 years, right? So there's 10, 20, 30, 40, and now 50 me. Well, I can promise you at each one of those points in my life, I looked at death differently. When you're young, you kind of have an invincible feeling. Anybody that says they don't, I think is lying. And that doesn't necessarily go away. As a father, you feel like your kids may find the secret, right? They're going to be the ones to live forever or find a way to keep going. And then, of course, something like this happens, and it really not only throws your mortality in your face, but your other children. I know that people that are parents, I can see them. They don't even want to think about it, right? I remember when I was that way. There would be movies that I watch where the child dies or, a kid dies. And I was just, oh man, I remember, I can't even explain it, but I would think to myself how unimaginable that was. Right. And that's the same thing that happens to the friend of a parent who's dealing with that kind of loss, right? They really don't want to put themselves there. And I can't blame them. Don't think for a minute that I'm saying, oh, you got to fucking do it. No, God, no. It's not something that you really need to do until you have to. And I mean that. I would never wish this kind of pain on anybody. And I know I've already said that before, but I'll repeat it, because even my worst enemy doesn't deserve this. Funny enough, one of the movies that used to get me, and I don't know when I'll watch it again, but one of those ones that used to get me was Lucky Number 11. Lucky Number 11. Boy, that's a fucking good movie. I will not. I'll do a whole flick dick on that here soon. But let's just say this: that deals with kids dying in their 20s. You know what I mean? And the way the parents deal with it. Excuse me. Pardon me. That was a little more of a cough than I smoke-anticipated. So, always moving forward, keep moving forward. Like I said, there was no real design topic, but obviously I haven't been on the air for a while, and it was an easy time to do so because of Thanksgiving. But it all started actually. Today is Monday, right? No, Tuesday. All right, so Tuesday. So it all started about 11 days ago, and I'm starting a new company. I have a partner. Have I don't know. Sent me this fucking text. And I mean, this is a stressful relationship. And what I mean by that is it has been stretched hard very quickly. So, nutshell elevator pitch version, we became friends a little over a year ago. Probably about a year and a half, getting closer to a year and a half, and became really close about 6 months ago. Like right after I started this. So right after I started Spirit of 420, we became extremely close. We were already good friends, but the bond happened. And a lot of it happened because he went through some shit. And quite frankly, I was one of few people there for him at the time. Which is fine. He needed somebody. I'm not begrudging him on that. But so we got very close very quickly, and then so many things have been stressed, and we were going to go into business together. I don't know where that is. He hasn't talked to me in a while. But what bothered me is there's so much stressing this relationship, and I feel like in the simplest of terms, he's just making these preemptive moves so that he can't get hurt again, because it's easier to do that than to possibly get hurt again, right? And I say that because just like all of us, he's damaged goods. Started a business, got fucked out of it. That's it. I'm not even going to go into it because the details don't matter. All that matters is you have that scar. See, that scar is what gets you. Because you either let that scar determine your behavior in the future, or you just kind of let it, fade away like the rest of scars. Excuse me. But yeah, so sorry, I'm still coughing. I'm trying to not cough into the mic since you guys are actually listening. How do I say it? I'm not necessarily, because you try to look at things. I am at a point where I try to look at things from the other person's point of view, right? And even when doing that, we still judge. There's just no way around it, because you do something, and especially for a friend who you say you love unconditionally, and you give that unconditional love, but then you don't feel like you're receiving unconditional love. It's hard to want to put up with it. Let's put it that way, right? You get to a point where you're like, okay. And it's even part of what I preach. It's part of like, the meditations and the things that I do, the focus that I do, living a stoic, attempting to live as stoic a lifestyle as possible. One of the things that you do is you accept responsibility, right? Look at it from the other person's point of view. But if it doesn't change when confronted, then you leave that stuff behind. And that's really hard because, my wife and I, if we were to break up, that would really blow me away because I really, truly believe that she's my one and only love of my life, right? My true soulmate, regardless of all the other things that I do, because most of my viewers know that I'm poly. So, yeah, and we're in an open marriage. But that open marriage doesn't have anything to do with who you love and who is your partner through life, right? To me, you only pick one of those for life, and hopefully only one of those for business. I have not done well on business, but I can either cut myself off or I can try again. Although what's funny is the messages that I've been receiving is that it's all going to be based on just me investing in myself and believing in myself without anybody else. That's the messages I've been getting. It's not what I want. I thought it was different, and who knows, maybe somewhere he'll, get off his stubborn ass and do the right thing. But you can't change people, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Isn't that funny to see that coming out of somebody's mouth while they're blowing pot smoke out? Anybody who knows that poem knows that poem, it was not where it was created, but it was made famous in AANACA. So when you see some dude hitting a bong, it would be like, comparatively like somebody with a bottle, God grant me type of thing, right? But hey, the poem still holds true. The whole idea, it isn't even about actually having a God. That's what a lot of people are like. Some people get turned off, say karma, say universe, say world, grant me the serenity, because that's what it really is learning to understand when you have control over something, when you don't have control over something, and how to tell the difference and when to let go due to it. That's it. I only have control myself, which is where one of my other sayings that I love so much. If I'm not the problem, there is no solution. Every solution lies within, because you can only control yourself. So the only thing you can change is yourself. Therefore, the only way you're going to make anything ever better or different is changing yourself. I mean, it's pretty much A, B, fucking C. Not to sound rude to anybody, but you can either come to these determinations yourself, but these are not my opinions. These are the facts of the world that we're in. The only time you control someone else is if you are a dominating piece of shit and they are submissive, or if you're, some kind of gun-toting dude in another. Regardless, even in those scenarios, get this, you can still only control yourself. If somebody tells you to do something or die, you're either going to do it or you're going to get shot and die. You control that. I know. I can't stand the whole victim role. I saw that shit when I was younger and played it for a while when I was younger. And I never really dug it because, again, believing in that believes that you allow the entire world. You're submissive to the world. Well, I'm not submissive to the world. I do not yield. I do not bow down. I give in to the fact that there is a balance, and with bad days come good days. With horrible times come fantastic times. You take both. And if you have a problem with it, well, check out. Funny enough, I didn't read the article, but I did read the headline where apparently men are committing suicide at a greater rate than ever. And not obviously the numbers are higher because we're more. We just keep growing in numbers. So the numbers technically are higher, but they're talking about the percentage, which is where, numbers do come in handy and understanding them comes in handy. So, let's just say the number of however many men out of 100, every 100, that number is going up because apparently men are more stressed out than ever before. I should have read the article. I won't deny it. I even meant to go back and read it, but now it's out of my feed. So, but look that one up. Maybe you can find something out and get back to me at another time and be like, hey, this is what it was all about. And it was because we have penises. No, I'm checking. That just goes with the old men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? But yeah, back to the point. I will be going live again. I'm been working in these few days off and in my really depressed state. I won't lie. That hit me pretty hard because I'd lost a job. I'd lost my son, and now I was losing a friend and partner. And quite frankly, I already did lose him, and even he has admitted so. All I mean by that, y'all probably remember when I was talking about this, but he nearly died due to heart failure. So when that happened, and again, this is his own admission, and I have seen it, and everybody understands it who loves him and cares about him. But he's different now. He'll never be the same. He processes things a little bit slower. He, reacts in the simplest of terms, slower. It's all due to how he's perceiving things. It's kind of like a delayed reaction. Like, this happens, and then 20 seconds later, he's startled. And what I mean by that is that's part of what he's going through now. And that sucks because, he ends up self-prophesizing a lot of stuff. The very things that he worries about is what he creates. He's like, this is going to change me and I'm not going to be me anymore. I was like, dude, you can still be you. You're just going to be you differently. It's going to be a better you. But it's like, it's whoever he was before then is not the guy that he is now. And that hurts. That hurts. Because just like death, this is one where it's not like they have some surgery to get back what he lost due to nearly dying, right? I think technically he might have even been dead. I don't know. His heart failed, so that's all I know. I don't know the full details because he's never really shared that with me, and I didn't feel like it was something that I needed to pry and make him share. But I imagine it was a lot more serious than even I was led to believe. So it just, it was the big three. It's been what feels like, and I'm not going to deny it, right? I'm not going to stop. I will keep moving forward. I will drudge and dredge through the shit like I've always done, because let me tell you something, I have been beaten down and broken on more than one occasion, and I am neither beaten down completely nor am I broken right now. It really kind of hit me. So when I say I was depressed, I just didn't do Spirit of 420. I didn't really tweet that much over the last 11 days, but I did a lot of work. Actually, I took the time to get some other things done that I'd been wanting to do and been trying to do. But that didn't happen until after like the first 5 days, though. So like the first 5 days, I was in. Well, actually, I guess really just the last 3 or 4 days have been extremely productive ever since Thanksgiving. Technically speaking, Thanksgiving, that's really what it was, and I should point that out because on Thanksgiving, everybody came over. We had a lot of people over here. Yes, Skylar wasn't here, but we had, a ton of new faces. There was literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new faces, and they were all around that same age as Skylar. So that was really awesome. Most of them are women too, which is funny. It's kind of funny how that's happened, because these girls are so sweet, and they're all very much, it's funny because they're scary like Sky. Like there's this group, and it's the girl that tried to save Sky out on the road. She leads the pack. She is like, it's like talking to Skylar sometimes, except a little bit older. Like when I say a little bit, I'm just talking, a couple years older and female. So it's really weird. And I say that because anybody who knows me knows I had 4 boys, and then I had, not technically, but more or less taking 2 more boys under my wing. But no girls, never had any girls, right? Guy was like, you don't need to raise a girl. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I think it's funny because I now have a total of 6 new females in my life who are all around Sky's age. So they're more like daughters, right? And it's weird after all this time, because I've shied away. Most people know that I don't get along with my sisters. Don't have any. There's no love lost there. Let's put it that way. So it's been kind of special. And all I can say is there has been it's very bittersweet. I know that used that word too much, but that's okay. Sometimes things are like that. Give me a fucking better substitute, right? Taste horribly great. Anyway, what was the point I was trying to make? Oh, it's just been, a delightful surprise to losing my son and gaining not just one, but multiple new people. And the number of, I say 6 new young girls, but it's like double that when it comes to young men, because of all the mechanics, right? So it really is kind of a beautiful thing due to a tragic event. As I have preached and said many times on this very show, that's, to me, that it's not, it's not just about the balance. It's that when something horrible happens, as long as you're paying attention, you're going to see great things that come from that horrible event. And it doesn't matter. I used to not get it, but I mean, it's everything. Even say getting your power turned off, something will happen because of that will show you that, all of this shit is real. And what I mean by all this shit is real is there is something beyond this. This is an experience. This is a moment in a much bigger picture that you cannot fathom, that you are here to experience what you're here to experience, right? And this part, I do not have 100% factual proof of it, but I 100% factually believe that we essentially preview the trials and tribulations, as well as the rewards and trophies that we're going to go through, and that we choose that. This is what I want to learn. This is what I'm going to. And that's why, even though it feels, even though it feels very, and I've tried to explain this before too. You can come here with that plan and never get on track, right? As long as you are going on track, though, then you're going to continue to hit the little things that are supposed to happen, the triggers. And it's really quite magical that it can all work the way it does, because it's not fucking random. That's the crazy thing. That's all I can tell you. It's not that, I know. There's a purpose to all of it. There's a purpose to you. You are incredible, beautiful people. In fact, that's where my saying came from for season 2, to blaze or not to blaze. There is no question. There is only to get high, to get by in the sky. But you know, I lost my train of thought, but that's a stoner thing. Oh dear. Well, it really doesn't matter. Just know that you're all special and you're all unique. And that was part of where I was going. And that's all that really matters. Each one of you have a purpose. There are 6 degrees in separation. I say this almost every show now. That's why the butterfly effect is real, because everything you do matters, and everything that anybody else you don't know does matters. Anything they do matters. So have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed evening. Unless some crazy shit happens, I'll be back on Thursday and then again on Saturday. In fact, I may go check out a couple of films or do something. So I have a flick dick investigation this week. I'm sure some folks would be looking forward to that. There are a few good movies out there. There's one I want to go see. What is it? The Black Fighter Pilots movie. And I can't think of it, but it looks really good. So I might go see that. Anyway, I love all of you. Thanks so much for the support. I appreciate it as always, truly. And I will be back again on Thursday. I don't know if Thursday will be a flick dick or not, but we'll see. Either way, we'll talk about something new, something fresh, and maybe I'll come back to telling a story that day. It's time to tell another new story, huh? Story from the past. Peace.
You can't have my phone number unless we running up the digits. Let me meditate, I just need a couple minutes. Tryna low bomb me, my cojones to the big ass. Bitch, I get high. I ain't looking at the clock.